So I'm from New York. I've been in Baltimore for 25 years though, so that's hard to believe. Born in the Bronx area, then moved up to Yonkers, right across the Bronx line. I'm a proud New Yorker. My beautiful wife, Sarah, I met her actually here. We moved to New York together and moved back down. And since then, we've been down here and started a family. Three amazing kids. Francisco, Franny, my oldest son. He's in 6th grade, he's 12 years old. My daughter is Ella, she's the middle. Sweet girl, 5th grade, and she's 11 years old and doing amazing things. And then my daughter Eva, she's 7 years old, she's in 1st grade. 3 incredibly different kids, so much fun. I grew up in a family with 2 brothers. My older brother and I are 16 months apart, and I went to a parochial school. And so when we were looking at high schools, there was definitely a desire for us to continue in Catholic education. That was never in doubt. We were going to go Catholic. And there were several options that a lot of students went for. And then when it was my turn to look for high schools a year later, my interests were leaning a lot more towards a more traditional school, non-religious type school. But I was looking at Fordham, and the environment there was one that, in terms of who was there, in terms of the fact that they were connected to the city, in terms of students coming from all 5 boroughs, there was an authenticity to it that I loved. As my family saw the experiences that my older brother and I were having, they went from being a family that believed in Catholic education to being a family that believed in Catholic Jesuit education. So when it came time for my younger brother, 10 years later, it was pretty much Jesuit or nothing at that point. So my family found their connection to the Jesuits through my brother and I's experiences. I thought I was the beneficiary of a bunch of really good individual teachers who cared a great deal, and I was. But what I didn't realize is that there was an intentional design around Jesuit education that went back centuries. I'm a huge believer in the experiential part of education. There's perhaps an overused expression about education that students are fires to be lit, not buckets to be filled. And what matters most in education is not the content we deliver. It is the way we care for our students in mind, body, and soul to make them lifelong learners. And the best way to do that, I have found, is to provide them with the tools and the opportunities for experiences, and then the frameworks by which they could make meaning of those experiences. And as a president now, I have the opportunity to tell that story, help inform institutional direction in how that's going to live out, and really work with people across all constituencies to help that bear fruit for the experience at the prep. What we've seen more and more in the last 40 years to prepare students for what comes next in life, whether it be jobs, whether it be impacting social change, whether it be creating new environments. You're not going to learn it sitting simply behind a desk in a row, understanding and being able to regurgitate what the teacher has told you. And you can't do it independent of that either. You need to be able to have both the context and the experience, and then the ability, freedom, and framework in which to own it and move it forward. We've been given a very clear charge, right? Go out and set the world on fire, right? It needs to start with that ignition. And a good teacher finds a way to not provide students with the content that lights that fire, but the experience. The prep is synonymous with excellence in Catholic education, period, not Catholic Jesuit education, Catholic education and education in the greater Philadelphia area and beyond. When I walked in there, I felt like this was a place I belonged. This was a place where I saw myself in the present. This is a place where I saw my prior self. And this was a place where I could see my future self. When I was talking to the students that I met when I was there, and they were telling me about their service experiences, and it was about going across the street to deliver things to families, to work with the people on Girard and cleaning up on a Saturday, you know? That pride of place, that understanding of the care for the common home that a lot of times we talk about on this global scale, to have it be so local. And it's not doing for, it's doing with, right? It's not a thing apart, it's of. It's not a fortress on the hill. It's a beacon in the city. The Prep's decision to stay connected in Philadelphia after the fire, I'm gonna say this, it's a bold choice. And I would expect nothing less of a Jesuit institution, right? That's part of the reason why I like it so much, is that there was probably, I wouldn't say a better choice, but a safer choice maybe. And when I say safer, I mean an opportunity for growth, right? When they would have said, this is a direction things are going. But instead, the Prep knows its identity. And, 1851, they put their flag in the ground on that spot, so to speak. And then to say this is where we're staying speaks to a commitment to the city of Philadelphia, but it also speaks to a commitment to knowing who it is, knowing that it reaches out to, New Jersey, it reaches out to the whole Delaware Valley, right? And so to stay fast with that location isn't just about a piece of property, clearly. It's about the school knowing who it is, what mission it serves, who it serves, and for what reasons, right? And the fact that it's there and continues not just to lean on tradition, but to serve that identity and mission speaks to its unwavering identity, its determination in what it does. It's resolute in its mission, which I admire. And we talk about the Magus all the time, right, in Jesuit institutions. The fact that the Prep stayed at its location talks about a commitment to the Magus. If you are the premier Jesuit, Catholic, academic institution, and each of those are period after it, Jesuit period, Catholic period, academic period institution, in the Delaware Valley, right, in the larger Philadelphia metro and beyond area. Are all those students represented there? Are they bringing their whole selves? It's them, their sacred journeys, their individual sacred journeys, their origin stories that make the Prep a sacred institution. One of our real hallmarks as Jesuit institutions is celebrating the humanity of every individual who comes through. And so with our grad goals of being loving and being religious and being open to growth, right? Having all of these different people with their own origins and sacred histories and bringing them to an institution that honors that is foundational to who we are as an institution and our way of proceeding, allows the community to benefit as a whole, right? So everybody is not just coming to become Prep. Everybody who comes makes the Prep become. Everybody brings a piece of themselves. And that's what really is made the Prep sustainable from an educational and mission point of view for 170 years. Every single person who's walked those halls, and those faces have changed dramatically over the years. Thankfully, we grow as an institution, right? So those faces, and they will continue to change. Each one of those people who come through, their mind, their body, and their soul makes the Prep different. It's not just a matter of the Prep making them different, right? It's this beautiful balance that we have in Jesuit education. In everything I've done in education shifted when I became a parent. Whether it be what happens in the classroom or the decisions we make in the cafeteria or the lines around the school or in co-curriculars or just in, the way signage might be around the school. Having that perspective as an institutional leader, those shared perspectives that so many of our constituents have, right? What it means to be somebody who has a family, somebody who's has children, somebody who might have more shared experiences in terms of what's on their plate in life right now. My heart was changed when I had children. My heart was changed when I was married. And it's not to say that that level of emotion or love is not present. It is very much so when you have a priest leading an institution. It just brings something that's different. And it'll be the first time this energy is there when talking with our current families, when talking with our alumni, when talking with our teachers, our faculty, our staff, when talking with the boys in the room. And I know what it means to be the father and I know what it means to be the son. I've been on both sides of that conversation. And so I'm excited to be able to bring that to the prep, to be quite honest. Diversity in institutional education is equivalent to opportunity. The first step is, are you in the community? Whatever that diversity you identify is. Are they present, right? Is diversity of thought present? Is diversity of learning styles? Is diversity of economy? Is diversity of racial identities? Diversity of ethnic identities? Diversity of gender identity, right? In our faculty and staff, is that present in our administration? And then, once present, how is it fostered, right? Where's the programming to make sure that those voices, those identities are being shared and being heard? Because what good is it to have someone else in the room if there's not a spot for that experience to be shared? The value is to say, now we have all different types of people learning from each other. We have all different opportunities for perspectives to be shared, for life experiences to be shared, for origin stories to be shared, for the sacred journeys to be shared. Because we have those as individuals and we have those as part of our identities. So I have that as part of who I am as John Marinacci for the life I've lived. But I also have part of my identity as a white male. I have part of that as a married white male. I have part of that as a Catholic, right? I have part of that as somebody who's been lucky enough to pursue education, right, in formal settings at high levels. There's people whose experiences are so different than mine that I have so much to learn from. And I've never been in a room where their voice has been given space to speak. I've never been in an environment that fosters perhaps that voice, right? So my job as a leader of an institution in 2021 that has the mission and value of the prep is to make sure that we are actively and intentionally creating an environment where not only are those different identities in the room, but we're fostering programming that gives voice to each of those so that everybody in the room takes advantage of that opportunity. It's a responsibility that I take very seriously. I'm honored, first of all, to be trusted with that. It's a tremendous act of faith on the institution's part to trust the legacy and sustainability and the next step of the prep's growth and history to a layperson, and for that layperson to be me. As director of the work, that is a title that I take every bit as seriously as the title of president. I recently had a phone conversation with Father Reiser, who's working for the Jesuit Schools Network now, and he shared with me a really insightful comment that has really impacted me in my way of thinking about this work. And he said, your missioning doesn't come from ordination, your missioning comes from baptism. I'm very much understand and know that I am a leader of a faith community, and I have to be willing to live that faith in active and public ways, right? And I'm comfortable with that now. And that's been my growth over the last 7, 8 years in my time here at Loyola Blakefield has really helped me at that. And I'm ready to do that in a way that I've never done before. Being the first lay leader, there's going to be a whole host of other commonalities that might not have existed before when there's a priest in that position. So, first of all, having a family. I'm so excited to have my wife, Sarah, our children, be part of the community. They're excited for it. And they've grown up on schools. They've always been in schools. My wife and I have been in schools our whole professional careers. And so they're used to being all in. And that doesn't just mean showing up at the games. That means coming to events. That means coming to masses. That means, showing up to theater productions. That means walking the hallways. I love the work of leadership. I actually do. I love the process. I love getting the ideas on the table and setting a direction and building strategic thought around it, moving forward. Like it gets me going, right? To say, hey, we're gonna set a strategy for something 5 years in the future, and then we're gonna build backwards, right? And do a little understanding by design, right? And work our way forward incrementally, moving from strategy to tactics to execution. I love doing that work. I'm really excited to learn what that work means at St. Joe's Prep, right? Not just is it a capital project or is it educational programming or all of the above, right? Working with the society, but also the ethos, right? How's it gone about in the past? How is my style gonna mesh with the St. Joe's Prep style, right? And it's not an either or, it's a both and. I'm really excited to see the classes in action. I'm excited to see the teachers and the students in the hallways. As we said, hopefully resuming what life looked like in a lot of ways a year ago. But I'm excited to meet people. I'm excited to hear their stories, One of the things that has been my my superpower, my super weakness is I find people fascinating, right? And so I'm really excited just to hear people's experiences with the prep, right? Whether it be from 60 years ago, or whether it be from 6 months ago, or whether it be from 6 hours ago. Getting to know those things and getting to hear those stories and then making the connections. I've heard, my experience with such and such a teacher, was so profound, or I've heard, funny stories told and sad stories told, and I can't wait to start being able to have that context. I'm excited to go, watch a regatta. I've not been in a school with a crew program in some time, and even where I was, it was very different. I'm excited to watch a live theater performance at the prep. They got the Cape and Sword is so well known that I'm excited to experience that. I'm excited to get to know Philly and figure out where that really meshes together. It's a while since I've been a blank slate in a lot of ways, right? And the nice thing is I'm not coming in, eyes closed, right? I understand the prep as an educational and Jesuit institution. I understand that. But culture, nuance, ethos, it's been so long since I've come into a place where I've had such an opportunity to be a sponge, right? Without having bias or over the top context, that I'm really looking forward to that.